watching The End Zone, sponsored by Lucky Star Casino.
Welcome to another edition of The End Zone, along with TJ Eckert. I am Colby Daniels, and back by popular demand is Rodney Anderson, this time without the knee brace. Rodney, how are you, my friend?
The knee brace is gone.
Got the flexibility?
Full range of motion.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel good. Just doing some physical therapy, working the rest of the little kinks out, but happy to be here.
Love it. It is popular, by the way. There were people clamoring. They said, we want Rodney back. And we said, look, we're going to do what the people want.
That's right.
That's what we did.
All right.
That's
Thanks,
right.
people.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, the season has ended, and we're getting ready for the bowl matchups, which we'll talk about shortly. But the transfer portal right now is what's making the news and making the headlines around college football. And it seems like OU has a new quarterback this week, getting a commitment from Washington State QB John Mateer. The money involved in the transfer portal is something that everybody's discussing, and there have been reports this week that OU offered around $3 million for Mateer. Other reports suggested that Miami might be willing to pay $3.5 to $4 million for the services of one John Mateer, but these quarterbacks are getting paid.
Oh, yeah. Rightfully so, the QB, leader of the team. I don't know how, for those that don't know, I do work currently in NIL. I don't know how true all of those numbers are. I will say they are up there. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of the Wild West. Cat's out of the bag. There's no secret about NIL anymore. They are getting paid for sure. Are these numbers exact? I don't know.
Right.
But they're up there, though.
What you can provide a better perspective than most. Schools aren't cutting these kids checks for $3 million and then they're off on their way, correct? There's got to be some sort of, how does it balance? Is it multiple payments? Is it multiple avenues? Like, how does that normally work?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to keep in mind right now, we still haven't gotten to where it's going to be once this house settlement figures itself out or whatever happens there. But most of the time, there still has to be an exchange of services for this money.
Okay.
Like, they're not just getting endless amounts of cash just for showing up. It is getting to that.
Right.
Like, we all know that. But, it's like pub in the collective, or I'm going to do this for this company or whatever. And then that's how you unlock your payments or your money or whatever. And it's different school to school.
Sure.
Everybody interprets the NIL guidance from the NCAA differently. Everybody kind of, and then they have to put that up against their state laws, their university laws. So how we do it at Oklahoma is not going to be how OSU does it in Stillwater.
Sure.
And then how we do it at Oklahoma is not going to be how Texas does it in Austin. And so it's just going to always be that way until this summertime, whenever things get a little bit more.
And even though it is essentially pay for play, because of the current structure, NIL, you're paying them for their name, image, and likeness. So there has to be that transaction.
Exactly.
Even though it is pay for play, but you have to mask it under the transactional NIL.
Until we get to
until we get to this next phase, and we'll see how well that is. That has guardrails with it. But I did want to get to another quarterback that it seems like is getting a big payday, and that's former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold. Now, I was listening to a podcast earlier this week where one of the guys from Rivals.com threw the number out that he had heard Jackson Arnold was going to get $2.5 million to go play quarterback at Auburn. Now, we all understand that Jackson Arnold struggled throughout this season. Not all of that was his fault, and I've been a defender of Jackson Arnold for the people that have hated on him. But 2.5 following what he did last season is wild. So I went and looked up the NFL draft last year. Bo Nix at Oregon last season was a Heisman finalist, right? Had a phenomenal season for Oregon, and we can look at the numbers right here, what Bo Nix did last season for Oregon. He's the number 12 pick in the NFL draft. His signing bonus was $2.5 million for year one, and his base salary is $795K. Gentlemen, $795K more for Bo Nix this season than Jackson Arnold will make next year at Auburn.
That's insane. And again, like, my issue with these numbers is like, has he done anything for Auburn yet? Is this going to be a waste of money? Is it going to be a good spend? I don't know. Like, you really can't call it. I agree with you. I think Jackson Arnold is a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
I think here at OU, circumstances just were against him. Offensive coordinator, wishy-washy, didn't really know what we were doing, can't figure out a scheme, can't get guys open.
Can't block.
Can't block. Everybody's injured. I mean, it was a tough situation for Jackson Arnold here at OU. I hope all the best for him. I don't know. We'll see if he's worth that alleged $2.5 million.
It's just crazy to see that someone would get paid that compared to like what Bo Nix got paid as the 12th pick in the NFL draft for year one.
Crazy to think about. Quickly on John Mateer, and then we can transition. That's a guy that Brent Venables had to get, right? I mean, and it's interesting.
Absolutely.
He is basically throwing all of his coaching future in Norman on Pullman, Washington, right, with Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer. Like that's what he's doing now with this move, and so be curious to see how it works out. Mateer's a great player. You're just trusting a guy that played at Washington State. So.
I think all things considered, it's a safe bet.
It is, yeah.
You know, like you got John Mateer coming in, top-rated guy.
Mm-hmm.
His OC is here as well.
Yeah.
He's not going to have to learn anything new.
Sure.
And then for BV, you know, he also gets good quarterback competition with Michael Hawkins Jr., who's still here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, regardless of who starts, I'm assuming it'll be the more experienced guy.
You think?
Michael Hawkins Jr. gets to sit behind a really experienced, a really talented dude who knows this scheme. It's only going to make OU better in the future. I think it's a good investment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Before we take our time out, I do got to ask you about Nick Anderson committing to LSU. Somebody you are familiar with, right?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
You've heard of him at least, but that LSU receiving core looking pretty nice with what they've done in the portal, and Garrett Nussmeier is going to have a lot of options next season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it like this, super happy, super proud. Couldn't be more proud of my little brother Nicholas. You know, I get it. It does pain me. I don't want that to go unsaid or unnoted. Like, it does pain. I wish we could have finished it out in the Sooners uniform. But I think this is a really good learning opportunity for everybody watching. These kids are doing their best. You know, they did their best for this program. They're doing best for their career. Like, they're just doing their best. They're not going to always be able to make everybody happy. There's no bad blood between Nick and OU. I feel like he could still show up on campus, walk around, and be loved. But he had to make a business decision. You know, if I came to you and was like, hey, here's a better opportunity. Everything that went wrong for you here is going to be fixed over here. That's no slight to the place you left. It's no slight to you or how you interact with the fan base or whatever. You just got to do what you got to do because Nick is a young businessman. He's got a family that's supporting him. He wants to have a family in the future. You know, you got to set yourself up. So that goes for all the kids, not just Nick in the transfer portal.
No doubt.
Quick note. They come here late November. What jersey are you going to be wearing? What colors?
I will be I'm not going to be down there on this.
Split? You going to get the split?
Listen, I'm not going to be down there in an LSU jersey. Come on. Like,
He wouldn't do that.
I just feel like Nick wouldn't ask me to do that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
He
there you
wouldn't
go.
ask me
There
to
you
do
go.
that, you know, but I will say if he scores, I will be the same.
Absolutely.
Like, you know,
It's
you
blood.
see,
It's
people
blood.
have seen me in the stands when Nick scores. Like, that's my little brother,
Yeah,
dude.
you got to.
Absolutely.
I remember when he was just a kid like, you know, snot-nosed kid.
Yeah.
And now he's out there on the biggest stage doing it. And
That's
he's-
awesome.
You know,
That's
I
cool.
can't help but be supportive.
Well,
Absolutely.
congratulations to him, and we'll certainly be rooting for him at LSU. And excited to see him at least back once here in the state of Oklahoma next season. All right, let's talk about these college football playoff matchups coming up this weekend here on the End Zone. All right, fellas, we've debated the bracket for months and months and months. We finally have the college football playoff matchups taking place this week. Again, despite all of our feelings about maybe how they determine these things, I am just excited to watch these games play out. And we got to start with the first game on Saturday morning. That is SMU and Penn State, which I think a lot of people are calling for upset in that one when this bracket was originally announced. The fact that it may be between 13 and 29 degrees at kickoff in Happy Valley, that probably pumps the brakes a little bit for me. On a neutral site, I might pick SMU, but at Penn State with the weather conditions, the Nittany Lions are built for that type of weather.
Yeah, I think we're going to really see what SMU's made of. You know, they're not really getting that kind of weather in Dallas, maybe a touch here and there. But at the same time, too, I do think they're a team with a chip on their shoulder that wants to make a statement. What better way to do it than in Happy Valley?
I think it helps them, SMU, that it's an early kick, right? Like if you're playing a night game in Happy Valley, that's hard. One of the toughest places to play in the country. I think having an early morning kick, it hurts that it's not a neutral site like you mentioned, but if we're going to split hairs, it's good that it's 11 a.m. and not 6:30.
Before we move on, interesting note, Penn State's backup quarterback entered the portal.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want to. He obviously wanted to play for his team, but quarterback spots are going quickly, and to secure his future, he had to leave. Unfortunate. If Drew Aller gets hurt, they might be in a very difficult position. All right, Texas Clemson, I think one of the best matchups this weekend. I feel like people are either sold completely on Texas winning this game, or they think this is upset. Maybe not a whole lot of in between, at least from what I've gauged.
I'm not sold on Texas's consistency on the offensive side of the ball. There's that whole back and forth. When do we play Arch? When do we not play Arch? There's a lot of people who are like sold on Arch. Let's get him in the game. And so I don't know. I think if we had a more consistent offense from Texas earlier, or I guess later in the season, I'd be on Texas's side, I guess, for this situation. But I don't know. I think Clemson can take advantage of this.
Clemson's experienced and with the coaching staff, Dabo Swinney's been there, done that before. I just don't know which Clemson team's going to show up, speaking of consistency. They haven't been that impressive until maybe late in the season. So I'll be curious to see what happens there.
They might be the best team if they got more consistent quarterback play. Quinn Ewers essentially shuts down in the red zone. It's very strange. He's not bad between the 20s, but inside the red zone, their offense really takes a nosedive. All right, finally, Ohio State at Tennessee. Tennessee fans have been trolling Ohio State fans all week. They've been playing Rocky Top at every jukebox in Columbus. They were also able to acquire about 30,000 tickets inside the Horseshoe, which is going to make for a very interesting game. I think this is the best first-round matchup anyway, and this is going to be a fun game at night in Columbus.
100%. I mean, you've got really talented teams on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a toss-up. I really don't know. It's a hard place to play, but I don't think it's harder than Tennessee. That's just a loud stadium, so it's not going to be anything that they're not used to. So I don't know. We'll see.
When you compare quarterbacks, Will Howard versus Nico, to me, you give the advantage to Nico. I'm still not impressed with Will Howard. I don't think he's a guy that can lead you to a national championship. So that's in a game like that, that's kind of where I tend to lean. Curious to see how he handles the environment, Nico, but we'll see how it goes. I think Tennessee has a pretty good chance to win that game.
I think Nico's more talented. He's still young, though, and they don't put a lot on his plate. Who has the better defense there? Because that's probably who I would lean toward.
That's tough.
That is tough. I might give it to Ohio State.
Ohio State's been playing pretty good defense. Tennessee early in the season, if you would ask me that in October, I would have said Tennessee without a question, right? But at home to Ohio State at night, that's tough, man.
If we can just get those 30,000 Tennessee fans to sing Rocky Top while Nico plants the flag
you don't want to get
commits a felony.
A felony,
yeah. Be careful.
At midfield, that would be
local law
epic
enforcement.
to conclude.
If you get a felony in the first round and win, do you get to play in the second game?
It's like targeting.
That's a good question.
Like
you have to miss the first half against Oregon, and then you can come back in the third quarter. All right, we're going to put Rodney Anderson back in the hot seat. He got the first down last time. We'll see if he gets a touchdown this time on moving the chains. All right, Rodney Anderson is back. We're moving the chains. Rodney got the first down last time he joined us. We'll see if he converts this into 6 this time around.
Yes.
Once again, you know this, but for everybody out there, we're going to throw questions at Rodney. However well or not well he answers these, we will give him plus or minus yardage, and we'll see how this thing plays out. So first question, Rodney, you went on bowl trips, right? Some of those were of high importance.
Significant.
So I'm just curious, what's the best bowl trip story that you have? Because I've heard guys all week long on different podcasts throw out different wild stories from their time on bowl trips.
I mean, there's definitely some wild ones. I think the more interesting one, though, our Rose Bowl year, we were all obviously excited, playoff year. We're going to go play Georgia, hopefully to play Bama the next week. We're so focused. We get out there, they have the activities. We're at Disneyland or whatever it was. We came back and all got sick. So throwing up, not good, sick, and we're in practice and I'm going through it. Everybody else is Baker, the line, everybody's just looking terrible. We're like, dude, are we gonna be good? And we ended up being good. All right, good enough to play. I guess not good enough to win.
One side of the ball was all right.
That's crazy. I'll give you a 7-yard game because I didn't know that story happened, and you guys played really well offensively. And that
game was on New Year's Day. That morning, I was a little sick from the night before's activities.
I'm sure it's very similar things there. So we'll go 7 yards there on that one. Okay, second down. This is a way too far in advance look, but I want a bold take or a hot take on OU's season in 2025.
Okay. I think we have top 5 defense
Oh, nationally.
nationally.
Okay.
Just because it's the camaraderie, bunch of guys coming back.
Sure.
This is another year in BB's system. I think we have a top 20 offense, and I think we win 10 games.
10 games.
10 games.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is kind of what we were alluding to earlier. With Ben Arbo coming in, instilling a whole new system. Yes, it's another system to learn, but he's got his quarterback coming.
Quarterback knows it.
That's
Yeah.
another player on the field that knows what's going on.
Yep.
You got guys coming in. We're
Okay.
building a team around an actual scheme.
Yeah.
When OU has a scheme, complemented with a great defense,
Yeah.
I just believe in it.
And
like
you do get more home games this year in conference than
Right.
you had last year because
Right.
it flipped. So
That's fair, too.
What were we at?
I gave him 7.
7. Let's set up a 3rd and 1 here.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah, just short of the chains, setting up a 3rd and 1.
Okay.
It is the holiday season. Everybody has their holiday traditions. At my house, at least, we are big Christmas movie fans. So give me your top 3 Christmas movies.
Oh. All right. For me, Elf is
Okay,
one.
Good answer.
that's in my top 3 as well.
Good answer.
It came out when I was a kid. And it was the funniest thing.
So
It's
good.
really good.
And it still
Yeah.
holds up to today. Dang. I think I'm going to have to go Christmas with the Cranks.
Oh,
That's
Okay,
just been
okay.
a staple.
Interesting.
It's an underrated movie.
It's a
Underrated.
good one. yeah.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta throw an old school one in there.
Yeah.
Maybe like the old claymation.
Okay.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay.
Okay.
Just because, like,
I like that. Yes.
No Christmas Vacation?
I
Or,
like
or
Christmas.
Home Alone?
Okay, here's the thing. I might lose yards on this one.
You already gave your answer. That's fine.
Okay. Home Alone.
If you're about to make a bad hot take on Home Alone.
No, look, I like Home Alone. I think it's a good movie. Is it like am I just a fiend for it? No.
It's not, and it's
Honestly.
not. I wouldn't think of it as a typical Christmas movie.
Yeah, and
It's more a Christmas movie than Die Hard. But
for me,
like,
it's got to stand the test of time.
Okay.
And weirdly enough, like the claymation Rudolph stands a better
Yep.
test of time than
Yep.
the Home Alone.
Fair.
Just because, like, if you're introduced to that past the age of 10,
Yeah.
it doesn't make
You're
sense
lucky
to you.
TJ's grading
yeah,
this
and
one
I am,
because
because
I
it's the
might,
first
I
down.
might commit. This would be a turnover
okay,
if,
well,
if it was me. Yeah.
first down for Rodney.
All right.
We'll let Colby grade on the.
All right.
This is the first and 10. The last final
maybe
question.
I'm not the guy for like,
No. You are. And okay, this will be an easy one, I think. I don't know. Favorite gift you've ever received, and if you don't like that answer, give me your favorite gift you've ever given. How about that? If you don't like that
man.
one.
Dang, that's a good one.
Deep.
That's a deep cut. Dude, I don't know. I think best gift I've ever received. We were real big on taking family vacations when I was a kid.
Okay.
And one year, my grandpa surprised us with an Alaskan cruise.
Oh.
And
Oh.
the
Oh,
reason I say that
nice.
is, like, obviously Alaskan cruise is very nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, it's our family vacations. We're all kind of spread apart now with the
Yeah.
three of us
Yeah,
kind of doing
sure.
our own things.
Yeah,
sure.
We don't get to do that enough anymore.
Okay.
So I feel like I'll say that just because of the, I don't know.
That's good.
You know what? That's what the holidays are about anyway.
Yeah.
So, against my better judgment, because of the
He's
third
softening
down,
up.
I'm going to do
He's softening
it.
him up. We have a touchdown.
We have a touchdown
Good
because
job.
the family's
How about Rodney?
family time is what the
Punching it
holidays
in.
are about.
Yeah.
All right, we have a holiday surprise to wrap up the End Zone next. All right, as we wrap up this holiday edition of the End Zone, before we are in Fort Worth next week for the show, as OU plays Navy in the Armed Forces Bowl. You guys both made the nice list this year as
Oh.
opposed to the naughty list. So I come bearing gifts for TJ.
I know nothing.
It's been a rough season for TJ in the picks department. So
Good. Thank you.
you are getting
that means a lot.
sports betting for dummies.
That means a lot. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear that gambling is illegal in the state of Oklahoma, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to follow the rules.
That's
so.
actually a fake cover. There's a real book under there that I got you, but I thought it would be funny to
okay.
mask it as a sports betting for dummies book. For
could use
Rodney,
this.
he's expecting soon, so
Oh,
we got the
This is
OU
awesome.
mouthpiece
Yeah, there we go. Look at
pacifiers
that.
Wow.
That's
for
awesome, man.
for the baby coming. And one other thing. You don't have the knee brace. I don't know if you kept it or not. You might need it when you're chasing around the little one. So I happened to find my old one in storage recently. So, just in case.
At
We've,
this point in time, you can never have too many knee
That's
braces if your name is Rodney Anderson. So thank you.
There you go, gentlemen. So
That was good.
we
That's awesome.
obviously wishing you guys a happy holidays, and
as well.
everybody out there, happy holidays. We are wrapping up this edition, and I guess we're all picking OU over Navy, right?
Please,
Definitely.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Winning season.
Depending
surely.
on, I guess we don't even know what the depth chart looks like, but
Don't
fingers
need to.
crossed, I guess.
We'll figure it out.
Pick them and ride with it.
They finish with a winning record.
I'll see if the book says that, actually.
There you go. There you go. Find out what that book says. And, maybe some helpful hints for the bowl season.
Might need them.
All right. For TJ Eckert, I'm Colby Daniels. Rodney Anderson, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week from Fort Worth following OU's win over Navy in the Armed Forces Bowl.